Already. मैसेज भेजो सबको. ओम स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः. नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So we are going through the introduction largely from the class notes of Swami Tyagishananji. He was a great, not only a great scholar, was known for his sterling monastic virtues. He was a great sadhaka, an extremely austere sadhu, and was widely respected for his scholarship. So he has written a very elaborate introduction. So it's very good for us to know these introductory ideas before we proceed to the Gita proper. क्योंकि गीता के बारे में तो बहुत सारी चीज कहा गया ना. कोई बोल रहे हैं इसमें बाद में घुसाया, महाभारत में नहीं था पहले, बहुत सारी चीज चर्चा होता रहता. So it's always good to know a little more detail. So as Maharaj puts it, and as Sri Ramakrishna also said, the Gita is essentially about त्यागा and yoga. ये दो चीज लेके पूरी चर्चा है. If you really want to sum up, go into depth, त्यागा that is from the negative aspect. सब छोड़ना, ये नहीं है, ये नहीं, इसी छोड़ना, वही छोड़ना, इसी दूर रहना, उसी दूर रहना. Whereas yoga is जोड़ना, भगवान से जोड़ना, इसकी माध्यम में जोड़ना, साधन की माध्यम में, विचार की माध्यम में, विवेक की माध्यम में. So these two really sum up the whole idea of yoga. And these principles are explained largely in terms of karma, bhakti, and jnana. So Gita maybe there is a view that the 18 chapters can be divided into three parts, so to say. The first 6 chapters largely deal with karma. The next 6 chapters about bhakti. And the last 6 chapters largely jnana. But इस सबको अंदर भी you'll always find that in karma there are other ideas, bhakti में बाकी ideas, ज्ञान में बाकी ideas. So तीनों में you'll get everything. But essentially जहाँ जो प्राधान्य है, so you can take it that those 6 chapters deal largely with that idea. So you'll find that the expression used by the Gita to describe भगवान की कैसे किस शब्द में वो विवरण कर रहे हैं. योगेश्वर, यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्ण तत्र पार्थो धनुर्धर. So the name is suggestive of the predominantly positive nature. जो भी त्याग की बात होता है, ultimately in a positive way you can reach the highest, you can reach God, you can reach the goal. All those things are largely explained. So yoga as well as tyaga and the similar words, synonyms, jo they also mean the same, are used again and again in this text several times. So the result is how his moha and dukkha, delusion and grief are completely wiped out, and how he discharges dharma. So dharma उनकी जो श्री कृष्ण ने समझाया कैसे उन्होंने निभाया. And according to the Bhagavan's advice, he said, Nashto moha smriti labdva karishye vachanam tava. All these shabdas clearly indicate. So there are in some places where Bhagavan सीधी उसकी बात कर रहे हैं. He directly tells him to do certain things. There are, so he brings out very beautifully the different shades of different ideas in Gita, where he says in this where Sri Krishna clearly emphasizes these two ideas of Tyaga and Yoga. Sukha dukke same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam vapsi. So you you treat the sukha and dukkha samekritva, and also the labha and nashta, and also jaya and ajaya. All those, if you can treat them all as same without being affected by them, and then if you fight, then nothing, no grief or no sin will ever get attached to you. So he is trying to give a direct prescription how you can practice, because in this how one can be always samatva and sukha and dukkha, sukhe dukkhe, labha alabha, jaya ajaya, how one can be samatva, if only is established in tyaga and yoga, then only it is possible. Because why we are affected, why we get sukha and dukkha? Because we don't practice tyaga. We are attached. We cannot give up. So koi aa jaye, then it affects us. We are badly affected by what is happening. Similarly, whether we gain or we lost something, we are extremely affected. So, it clearly says if we can treat all these, of course, he will give also other ideas as to how these can be treated, how to practice this as an instrument of the Lord. भगवान की एक एजेंट समझ के, करण समझ के, you can do that. Or with the highest idea, you are that infinite spirit. कोई idea में ज्ञान भक्ति जो भी idea से आप कर सकते हैं, कर ही सकते हो. लेकिन he clearly says that you have to completely be established the equality of all this, because all our existential activities can be clearly summed up in these things. नहीं तो सुख होता है ना दुख होता है, whether we gain or we lose, or we win or we are defeated. So generally all the activities in this world, wherever we enter, whatever we do, can be easily summed up in these three things. So he says these are the three things you must pay special attention, so that you are not affected. If you fight with that idea, then of course you are आप दिल से आप कर सकते हैं, no problem. See, the point is even actually in a practical way also this is very very effective. कई बार before we enter into something, the very thought that we may not succeed, we do it badly. एग्जाम में जब बैठते हैं ना देने के लिए, अरे मेरा तो अच्छा रिजल्ट नहीं निकलेगा, आधा वहाँ ही खत्म, 50% निकल गया, वहाँ 50% मार्क्स आर गॉन. नहीं, लेट मी डू माई बेस्ट, लेट अस सी व्हाट हैपेंस. दे डू वेरी वेल. एंड ऑल्सो फिर ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट, मैं बहुत अच्छा करूंगा, रिजल्ट भी नेगेटिव है. सो दिस लाभा alabha, this gain and loss, is a very important thing. If you can really think like that, samatva in that, even in an existential world, we can function much better. मान युद्ध में जा रहे हैं, जाते समय अरे हम लोग तो हार जाएंगे, दे आर सो स्ट्रांग, चाइनीज, खत्म. ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट, मेरा कुछ भी नहीं है, सबको खत्म कर दूंगा, लॉस. नहीं, विल पुट योर बेस्ट फुट फॉरवर्ड, विल फाइट, लेट अस सी. So this equanimity is of course is a great spiritual principle, but then it's extremely useful even in our day-to-day work. जो भी बना रहे हैं, जो भी कर रहे हैं, wherever we are, in office, in our professional life, personal life, wherever it is, a little of this quality, this samatva, obviously these are all backed by the ideas of tyaga and yoga. Unless you are able to, why? Unless we are completely attached, we are so much bothered by what we are doing only, obviously that will not lead you to such a performance. And to do that, it's not enough if you just give up. Unless your mind is linked to something higher. हम लोग देखिए, मन कभी भी तो खाली नहीं रहती ना. So either you are busy with this world only, or you have a higher attitude. Based on that, हाँ यहाँ जो करना मैं जरूर करूँगा, लेकिन मेरा उद्देश्य दूसरा है, उसी तरह मैं ध्यान रखूंगा। देन व्हाट हैपेंस, हाँ ठीक है, इतना अच्छा नहीं हुआ, ठीक है, अच्छा हुआ, ठीक है। यू आर एबल टू ऑब्जर्व एवरीथिंग, द लाभा एंड द अलाभा और द nashta, both are, they don't affect you very badly. Why? Because there is a something yoga, you are linked to something higher, linked to something superior, linked to something long lasting and transcendental, जिसकी वजह से यहाँ जितनी भी हो रहा है, whatever happens, it's okay, you have to do. We are all in samsara in some way or other. आप एक संसार है, मेरे दूसरी संसार है. All of us are. But if we can understand how to perform here, then life will be wonderful. That's why Gita is not just only spiritual instruction. That gives you a manual of very wonderful life. कैसे अच्छा जीना है. It teaches that science. And somewhere he says, Tasmat asakta satatam karyam karma samachar. Being completely, asakta, being completely detached, satatam karyam karma samachar. Do any amount of work. See, कई बार हम लोग सोचते हैं ना, अरे इवन इन मनास्ट्रीज दे दिन नहीं नहीं, काम करने में कहाँ अटैचमेंट आ जाएगा, नहीं करूँगा. ट्राई टू बी, दैट्स आल्सो गीता हियरली सेज, कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयमे यास्ते मनसा स्मरन् इंद्रियार्थान् विमूढ़ात्मा मिथ्याचारस्य उच्यते. So physically not doing is not really being free from work. Physically नहीं करते तो mentally करते रहते हैं. So the real calmness of mind is something different, where whatever you do, you are not attached. Sri Ramakrishna has a very beautiful attitude. आप तो यंत्र हो, मैं यंत्री हूँ, जैसे चला रहे वैसे ही चलता हूँ. আমি যন্ত্র তুমি যন্ত্রী, যেমন চালাও তেমনি চলো. So some attitude is necessary. How can you be without asakta? Whatever we do, we are attached, obviously. Lekin if you are attached to something superior, this lower attachment doesn't bother you. Otherwise, whatever we do, we are completely bound by that, and that is bringing so much of sorrow and suffering, etc. That's why he says, Tasmat asakta satatam karyam. Do any amount of work, that is not a problem. See, there are people, you might have seen, even in industries, in hospitals, in other things, they work very hard, बहुत कुछ करते हैं, but they are not so attached. ठीक है, एक क्या वो क्या. So if you have a little that equanimity of mind, then you can do any amount of work. So the problem comes when we are attached. आप एक कोई नहीं एक ही छोटा काम करता है, इसे इतना वही लेके वो is totally immersed, always these that करके becomes totally attached. Some people do quite a lot of work, चल ठीक है हो गया, वो काम कर दिया, अभी दूसरा. So satatam karyam karma samachar, it will not bother you anywhere at all. Then yogastak kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Be established in yoga and sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Be free from attachment. Again and again, this. That's why Mahatma Gandhi used to say, call it as anashakta yoga. This idea of this attachment is so powerful that can really bring disaster to you. That's why he says, if you are attached, and how it is possible? Yogastha. If you are established in yoga, then obviously you will be able to sangam tyaktva. You can give up attachment. If you are established in yoga, means what? You are deeply attached to yoga. You are deeply attached to the highest principle of life. You are deeply attached to God. Deeply attached to the idea that you are the Brahman or the Atman. So if you are that attachment means you are deeply immersed in that idea. Then all these lesser things will not. मान जी आपका बहुत कुछ मिल गया. You have so much of money in the bank. 100, 200, 500 आप देखेंगे भी नहीं. ये छोटी छोटी, अरे मेरा इतना है तो कौन देखता है सब, अरे रहने दो, किसी को दे दो. So the smaller attachment will not bother you if you have a deeper or a higher attachment. that can really take care of your life, that can mold you, that can take you to a higher state of awareness or state of living. That's why he says, Sangam Tektva Dhananjaya. Before that he says, Yogastha Kuru Karmani. Being established in yoga, you do karma. So the works done with being established in yoga, they will not bring attachment. There is no scope. And then Niyatam Kuru Karmatvam. So you do karma according to the whatever is ordained that way. Then more beautifully he says, Mahi sarvani karmani sanyast adhyatma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatachvaraha. Where see, these are the things where Sri Krishna directly gives direction. ऐसे करो, ऐसे करो, ऐसे करो. There are general instructions, but ये जगह में सीधा बोल रहे, एकदम सजा सजी बोले दिच्छे. बोलছে नियतम कुरु कर्म हो गया. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि संन्यस्त. Give everything unto me. For everything. Maya sarvani karmani sannyast. Offering everything unto me, leaving everything to me. And then what is that? Adhyatma chetasa. How can you give everything to the Lord? In what sense? Unless there is a spiritual attitude, मैं कैसे मैं जैसे वैसे काम कर सकता हूँ? How do you give it to the Lord? भगवान कैसे अर्पण करेंगे? So, you see what happens? It is not what I do. किसी को, that's why the famous this thing in Gita, in other places, somebody can be anything, but then whatever you do, if you can offer, you can be anybody. Any can be a housewife, you can be an executive, you can be a doctor, engineer, साधारण कर्मचारी, दीन मजूर हो सकते हैं, जो भी हो सकते हैं, simple housewife. But then whatever I do, there's an idea, I'm just offering unto the Lord. Maya karmani sannyasta adhyatma chetasa. With the spiritual attitude, आप इसके अंदर कई तरह spiritual attitude हो सकता है. भगवान सब कुछ देखते हैं, वही नियंत्रण है, वही करता है, उनकी वजह से सब हो रहा है. So in various ways you can offer, so many ways. So in that sense, I don't have any responsibility, I don't have any botheration. उनको सब मैं दे दीजिए, वो देख लेंगे. मेरा है जो मेरे पास आया, वो मेरा सच्चाई से करना है, इतना ही है. इसके अधिक मेरे को ही जिम्मेवारी है. I am not responsible in any other way. Whatever comes to me, I do with tremendous sincerity, intensity and honesty. इतना तक मैं करूँगा. So, how is it possible? Maya sarvani karmani sannyas. How can you offer everything? Adhyatma chest. Any kind of it. You can, or you can think that it's all, I am that supreme Brahman. I am that Chaitanya. ये सब बाहर दिखाने के लिए, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. मेरे किसी वक्त से कोई अटैचमेंट नहीं है. So with all that, if you do, nirashi nirmamo bhutva. Nirashi, one is, what is it, nirashi nirmamo bhutva? Of course, we will see that in great detail later when we come to the chapters. Asha. See, these are the things that bother humanity. Asha. करते यही होगा, यही होगा, इससे ही बनेगा, इससे ही बनेगा, इससे ही होगा. Always what your expectation, the future. This is asha. So he says he give up. करते करते बनाते बनाते परीक्षा में बैठते बैठते मैं आईएएस बन जाऊंगा, इसी से हो जाऊंगा, डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हो जाऊंगा, मैं डॉक्टर हो जाऊंगा, I become a surgeon, I will become this, I will become head, I will become tail. So many kinds of things. So asha, if you can really give up, ठीक है, मैं कर रहा हूँ, देखता हूँ, सब भगवान के समर्पण करके मैं कर रहा हूँ, इसी से जो बनेगा बनेगा. मेरा ऐसा कुछ नहीं, अच्छा बनेगा तो अच्छा है, अच्छा नहीं, अच्छा नहीं. And asha is what we constantly plan, hope, tremendous desire with respect to future. What is nirmama? What is that? Nirmama is, mamatva comes out of the past actions. Whatever we did, मेरा मेरा मेरा, ममत्व कैसे था? मैं बनाया. अब जानते हैं कितना सुंदर 8 मंजिल एक इंस्टीट्यूट बनाया. मैं नहीं बनाया, मैं नहीं बनाया. कहाँ से पैसा इकट्ठा किया, किसकी किसके पास है, क्या 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 दिक्कत हो. So this nirmamo bhutva, neither you have expectations of the future, nor are you to get terribly attached with the past. These are the things that bother us, isn't it? That's why they always talk about the presence now. Live in the now. Live in the presence. Either we are constantly thinking about the past. ऐसा हुआ ऐसा हुआ ऐसा हुआ ऐसा हो गया ऐसा हो गया मेरा ऐसा नुकसान हुआ मैं ऐसा था कितना किया had done so much, this is my past. Constantly either you are attached to the past or you are constantly imagining about the future. ये होना वाला ये होना वाला है, this will happen, I will get this, I will do that, constant this. So if you give up this, then absolutely is no problem. When you live in the presence, what happens? Whatever comes with this equanimity of mind, you are able to discharge your duties beautifully. Because of these two, this nirashir and nirmam, this mamatva and asha, with respect to the future and with respect to whatever we did good or bad in the past, not only good, even bad things constantly come and harp in our mind and disturb us, is it not? ऐसे किया ऐसे किया ऐसे किया क्या होगा ऐसे में करके बैठा. No, neither get attached. जो हो गया खत्म, भूल जाओ. Whatever you do, are you going to bring it back? अच्छा किया बुरा किया जो किया, good or bad, whatever you did, it's gone, it's dead and gone, it's not going to come back. Why do you relive it in your mind again and again and do the same thing? By reliving the mind, you are again and again doing the same thing and getting terribly attached. It's not necessary. Khatam. Similarly, what's going to happen? What's going to the constant expectation about the future? These are the things that really destroy us. So Bhagavan clearly says, Nirashi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatachvaraha. Without being affected, you fight. Don't have jvara, any illness about what's going to happen, not going to happen. You work completely without any such thing. Then your work will be excellent and you will not be bothered. Then एवं बुद्धे परम बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मात्मना जहिशत्रु महाबाहो काम रूपम दुरासदम. So if you have this kind of buddhi, the supreme idea, then and if you are established in that Atman, then if you jahi shatrum mahabaho kama rupam, give up this terrible kama, kill that enemy besides. Because he says no somewhere, kamesha, krodesha, rajoguna samudbha. So these are the great vairis, are the great enemies. So how to jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasana? How you kill that? Because evam buddhe param buddha samsabhyatmatmana mana samsabhyatmanatmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Then he says, Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hristam jnanasinatmanah chitvainam samshayam yogam atishto tishta bharata. So, Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hristam. So, whatever this ajnana that has arisen, cut it with jnanasina, with the sword of knowledge, completely cut it. Chitvainam samshayam is cut away, destroy this samshaya, this doubt, and then yogam atishto tishtaba. Be established in the yoga. And again he says, tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. So become. So he has given a few instances where the Bhagavan seems to give direct advice. ऐसा करो ऐसा मत करो ऐसा करो ऐसा मत करो. Directly he is giving. He has given some samples. Very beautifully he has culled out this information. And then there are certain speciality, apurvata. भगवान की teachings के अंदर we can clearly see in this Gita. Wonderful. They say since you used to do this Bhagavad Gita, there never used to be any text or book or anything. You will sit Simply close his eyes and for 2 hours he will discourse. He was such a great scholar. So, he says, what is his speciality? Bhagavan speaks about his matam, iti ve matam, mati. All these, what he says is to emphasize the point of view as distinct from others. ये मेरा मत है, मैं ही ऐसा बोल रहा, which is different from what others might say. To emphasize that, he says, ye me in the third chapter, ye me madamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. So he gives a very special mention about his own. Ye me matamidam. This is me mata. Nityam anutishtanti manavaha. What is it exactly he says in the sloka? ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो अनुसयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेपि कर्मभिः. That means whoever follows this teaching of me, ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम अनुतिष्ठन्ति, eternally on a daily basis without the least wavering mind, manavaha, those people, with they do it. What is that? With shraddha, shraddhavanto, anusuyanto, without anusuya, without any disparagement, without any hingsa, without any jealousy. Anasuya is actually jealousy. Muchyante tepi karma mihi, they are also released from the bondage of karma. You see, if you follow this advice of mine, you will be completely released from the bondage of karma. So, it is a very great assurance. Because the problem is, what happens? We constantly feel that work is that which is binding. See, the whole problem in the world is, in our life, existential life, we have to work. सबको करना ही है, लेकिन करते करते फंस जाते हैं. It comes in various forms, this attachment that is leading to more bondage, more suffering, and ultimately we are in deep trouble. So, the one way or the only way in which we can do is, can we really find out a secret whereby we have to work, we have to work intensely. At the same time, we are not attached, we are not bothered. The bondage of karma doesn't come to it. That's what he says. Ye ye matamidam nityam manutishtanti matamaha. Shraddhavanto nasuyanto. uh, they will also be muchyante tebi karma. They will also be liberated from the bondage of karma, because I am giving you such a specific prescription, such a methodology whereby you can intensely participate in everything. At the same time, you will not be affected. What else we need? You can do anything. Sri Krishna does not say that only if you sit and do puja, you will get be liberated. He is taking the worst example. He is not only just talking about you are working, doing something good, charity, or helping others, or serving others, doing seva. No, directly saying you fight, you kill, you kill people. Don't worry, I am behind you. I am ready to help you. Why? Because it should be based on dharma, it should be based on principles, it should be for a cause, it should be dependent on God. If you depend on God, you kill, I am behind you. What else you want? No one can say, there cannot be a greater source of attachment, greater source of labha or nashta than yuddha, sukha or dukkha. That cannot be great, because in a war, particularly when it is between brothers, you are going to kill your dear and near ones. How you can be sukhe dukkhe same kritva? That's why he says, people are in front of you, your dear and near ones. Can you kill them and yet not feel that great grief? So he gives a prescription whereby you can perform, you can participate, do anything. After all, whatever in this world, whatever comes to you, whatever is your swadharma, whatever is, for example, someone who is a policeman. Man, worst is take. Supposing somebody is a hangman. अभी तो सभी is no longer there. Sometimes in every state there used to be a hangman. कि काम क्या है? लोग के फांसी में चढ़ाना. Hang people was his job. Then you will think, all my life I am doing only sin, Papa. But if he thinks, no, I have to maintain, I have a family, I have a kartabya, I have to find for those people. If I can do it, विदाउट एनी अटैचमेंट। ये अच्छा है बुरा है, इसका टिक दिया नहीं दिया, इसके में का क्या करो नहीं करो, नो। जो आया मेरा वो काम करना है, वहां से निकलना है। बट वी थिंक दैट वैस भगवान मेरा ऐसे कर्म दिया, ऐसे करने के लिए मौका दिया, उसकी अंत में भी वो भगवान की स्मरण करते हैं तो कुछ भी दिक्कत नहीं हो। See, whatever you may, someone may think, all my life I've just been a housewife. Day and night I've been only working, preparing food, serving people, cleaning vessels, this and that. मेरा क्या जीवन है? You are gone. You think, no, मेरा भगवान ऐसे ही मेरा मौका दिया, यही करने के दिया। मैं करके भी, करते भी, करने के बाद भी, पहले भी, थोड़ा भी उसकी याद रखूं, मेरा जीवन सुंदर रहेगा। जो भी आप करें, करने के बाद क्या फर्क पड़ता है? whether you are a surgeon or an engineer or a cook or any person, a policeman. So the real beauty lies in how we do it and not what we do. So how we do आपकी पहले why we have to do आप if you पता होगा, then how we do becomes greatly organized. Why there is a problem? We don't understand why we should do. मेरा आश्रम देखने के लिए दिया, आई एम ऑलवेज ग्रम्बलिंग, अरे नया आश्रम में भेज दिया, ये कितना करना है, नया नहीं आ रहे हैं, भक्त लोग नहीं आ रहे हैं, क्या करूं, पैसे नहीं आ रहे हैं, फंड्स नहीं हो रहा है, देन यू आर गॉन। व्हाई? आई एम हियर, आई बीन कमांडेड। ठाकुर नहीं भेजा, संस्थाएं नहीं भेजा, ठाकुर ही चला रहे हैं, उनकी नाम पे मैं आया, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, जो होगा धीरे धीरे होगा, कुछ भी नहीं है। वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई, देन यू स्लोली अंडरस्टैंड हाउ, ये कैसे करना है, कैसे करना है, नहीं करना है, कैसे बात करना है, कैसे चलाना है, कैसे थोड़ा बचा के करना है, कैसे जा, एवरीथिंग विल बिकम ऑर्गेनाइज्ड बिकॉज यू हैव अंडरस्टूड द बेसिक व्हाई। सो ऑलवेज इन आवर लाइफ कॉन्स्टेंटली वी कीप क्वेश्चनिंग, मेरा क्यों, व्हाई आई हैव टू डू, व्हाई आई हैव टू, व्हाई आई एम दिस, व्हाई आई एम हैविंग दिस सो मच वर्क, व्हाई somebody someone is not doing, नो, मेरा आया, मैं करूंगा, दूसरा क्या करेगा, उसके संस्कार के अनुसार उसका मिला। See, there are both are equally qualified. I am also MA, who is also MA. उसको तो 1.5 लाख मिल रहा है, मेरा को सिर्फ 30,000 क्यों मिल रहा है? नो, देर आर पीपल हु आर नॉट गेटिंग 30 रुपीज, मेरा तो 30,000 मिल रहा है, 30 रुपया भी नहीं मिल रहा है, वो भी तो जिंदा है, मैं अच्छा रहूंगा। भगवान मेरा जहां रखा है, मेरा जैसे किया उसी से मैं संतुष्ट हूं, देन यू विल फाइंड दैट यू विल बी मोर हैप्पी देन द पर्सन हु इज गेटिंग 3 lakhs। क्यों? आपकी 30,000 उनकी 3 लाख भी अधिक है, बिकॉज यू आर ऑलवेज सेटिस्फाइड। आपकी वॉन्ट्स भी उसके अंदर ही आप कर लेते हैं। मान लीजिए आपकी जो सैलरी 3 लाख है, आपके हमेशा 4 लाख की अधिक जरूरत होता है, सो यू आर ऑलवेज इन डेट, यू आर ऑलवेज बोरिंग, यू आर ऑलवेज अनहैप्पी। बट आपकी 30,000 सैलरी है, आप 25,000 के साथ निपट लेते हैं एंड यू आर कंप्लीटली कंटेंटेड। हर महीने 5,000 बचत होता है, उसके आप 1,000 रुपया किसी को देते हैं, किसी जान देते हैं, बैंक में रहते थे, हु इज हैप्पी है? सो यू नो, एक्सटर्नल वर्ल्ड is nothing. The whole secret is internal world. How do I organize myself? How do I understand the why of life? क्यों ऐसा है, क्यों मेरा करना है, मेरा ऐसा क्यों जिम्मेवारी मिला? You know, suppose a retired person, he thinks about some man, a young man is running about in motorcycle and going in speed. अरे मैं नहीं चल पा रहा, अरे वो कर रहा है, करने दो, मेरा दूसरा है अभी करना। मैं पैदल में धीरे धीरे चल पाऊँ, बहुत बढ़िया है। कितने लोग मेरा उम्र में चल ही नहीं पा रहा है, मैं तो इतना उम्र में भी अच्छा चल सकता हूँ। So, you know, if you always understand where we are and how things are taking shape in our life, then you'll easily understand how to organize yourself, how to perform, all that come. That's why he always says, eh? So, ये में मदम दिष्टा अनुश्रेष्ठ होंगे। Then similarly, again he says, उदारा सर्व एवेते ज्ञानी तो आत्मैव मे मतम। Who are all the udaras? Those who are the liberal minded. He says, udaras सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी तो आत्मैव मे मतम आश्चित सहयुक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम। So he says, those who are, all of them are certainly noble. उदारा सर्वे वेश, बहुत विभिन्न मत के अनुसार जो चलने वाले हैं, all are okay, सब तो अच्छा ही है, they are certainly noble, but the knower I cherish as my very self, ज्ञानी तो आत्मैव मे मतम, मेरा मत के अनुसार जो ऐसे ज्ञानी है ओके मैं श्रेष्ठ मानता हूँ. क्यों? Because ever in union with me, astica sahi yukta atma, being ever in union with me, mameva muttamangatim, he, because he thinks I am the highest goal to be attained, उनके में बहुत श्रेष्ठ ज्ञानी मानता हूँ. So here, as he said, the speciality of his teachings, some of the places where he says about his mata, his mati, his conviction, what is his opinion. Here he says everybody is okay. Udara sarva evaite, jnani to atmaiva me mata. Him I consider as the true knower, because for him I am the very goal. Mame mamevam uttamangati. So he is always, if somebody thinks Lord Sri Krishna is my highest goal, हमेशा उसके साथ में युक्त रहता हूँ, उसके पूछता हूँ, उसके सोचता हूँ, उसके ध्यान करता हूँ, भजन करता हूँ, कीर्तन करता हूँ, हाँ, भोग चढ़ाता हूँ. Everything I do because I am constantly in union with him. So he says, such jnanis, they are the people who are considered the highest by me. So in here, obviously, here it comes the idea of both the, what you may say, there is an idea of, in the point of view of Advaita, and also whether we have to take it as only the Krishna of the Gita, there are two opinions. Because now here he says, Jnani is my own self, can be interpreted as asserting the unity of the individual self and the supreme self. वो ज्ञानी है, वो भी मेरे साथ समान है, सेम है, because both are united in the sense they are the individual self and the supreme self are the one and the same. So this is easily comes as a Advait के अनुसार, monistic philosophy के अनुसार easily इसकी का interpretation मिल जाता है. उदारा सर्वभूत, so they are the Udaras, really the very liberal people. At the same time, those who are according to me, those people I consider as jnani, who according to my mata, because they are always united with me, and for them I am the highest goal. So this this jnani, the being united with me, in one sense, in the Advaitic way, that gives easy interpretation. But then even in the, if you take from a dualistic point of view, from the Bhakta point of view, God is so fond of his devotees. Bhagwan Bhakta ki दास है एक तरह. So much he loves his devotee, he cannot be without his devotees. हमेशा से बता रहे हैं, नाम तिष्ठामि वैकुंठे योगी नाम हृदय च मद भक्ता यत्र गायन्ति तत्र तिष्ठामि नारद. मैं वैकुंठ भी नहीं रहता हूँ, योगियों के हृदय में नहीं रहता हूँ, लेकिन जहाँ मेरा भक्तगण मेरा गान जहाँ गाता है, where they sing about my glory etc., tatra tishtande. So you can say, that's why in Bhagavata there is a sloka which says I am the slave of devotees, मैं भक्त के दास हूँ. So मेरा कोई there is no freedom for me because I am bound by my devotees. जब बुलाते मेरा जाना ही है. So that is the idea. From my heart is in the grip of the devotee, for such is my love of the devotee. So such devotees feel God as their own. God also feels that the devotees are their own. So here is this type of bhakta also can be called as a jnani, because क्यों, उनकी ज्ञान में भगवान छोड़ के कुछ नहीं है, उनके जीवन भी वैसा है, सोच विचार भी वैसा है. Everything is completely depending on or centered on the Lord and Bhagavan himself. So they are also considered the highest that way. And then Udara Sarve Evaite Jnani to Atmaiva Me Matam. Then again he says in the 13th chapter, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnyor jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama. So, he has taken for discussion those places where the Lord clearly says it is my matha, me mati. Such slokas, such places he has clearly chosen to underline what is the speciality of Bhagwan's teachings. First he saw where he directly advises Arjuna in certain places, aisa karo, aisa karo, aisa karo. Now he says, where clearly says what is my matha, where is my mati. Again here he says, Kshetrakyam chapi mam vidhi, sarva kshetreshu bharata, kshetra kshetranyor jnanam, yatta jnanam matam mama. So, how is it Vidhi, Mam Vidhi? Know me. How is he to be known? The Bharata, you are the descendant of the Bharata clan. So, myself to be the Kshetrajna, the spirit in all the Kshetras in the bodies. This body is the Kshetra. Kshetrajna, within that, the spirit is the Lord or the Bhagavan or the Atman. The knowledge of the distinction between the Kshetra and Kshetrajna is the real knowledge according to me. So मेरा मत क्या है? मैं तो क्षेत्रज्ञ हूँ. I am the indweller, I am the spirit, I am the Lord, I am the Bhagavan, in whatever sense you understand, either in a dualistic sense or in a non-dualistic sense. So the indwelling spirit is the inner one. The Kshetra is the body. So the difference between Kshetra and Kshetrajna, because now we identify this body with the ultimate, that is where we suffer constantly. अब जब ये दोनों के फर्क हमेशा समझते हैं, what is the Kshetra and what is the Kshetrajna, that is, he says, that alone is real knowledge, because all other knowledge is of not much use. The ability to distinguish between what is Kshetra and what is Kshetrajna, that according to me, Sri Krishna clearly says, is the knowledge. And then again, in the 13, again in the 18th chapter, he says, Etan api tu karmani sangam tektva phalani cha kartavyani time mutpartha nishchitam matam uttamam. Nishchitam matam uttamam. मेरा मत है निश्चित. Definitely I am talking. What is that? See, etan api tu karmani संगम त्यक्त्वा धनन संगम त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानि इति मे पार्थ. ओ पार्थ, even these work etan api tu karman sangam त्यक्त्वा फलानि च are to be performed without attachment. Kartavyani iti me partha nishchitam. So, without the desire for attachment or fruits, these are also to be performed. This is my settled view. What are those? Yajnadana tapakarma natyajyam karyamevatat yajnodhanam tapachaiva pavanani manit. Because, slowly as he's coming toward the end of this discourse in Bhagavad Gita, first of all, he told Arjuna that you have to do certainly. This the yuddha is as your very dharma, your swabhava. If you don't want, you cannot get rid of that. Then finally, finally he says, you cannot give up work. आपको तो करना ही है. That he has emphasized in several places. Finally he says, there are even the ideas like yajna, dana, tapa, all these are all are to be not abandoned. क्यों? मैं तो ऐसे जगह में पहुंच गया, मेरा पूर्ण ज्ञान हो गया और मेरा कुछ भी करना नहीं है, मैं ऐसा नहीं करूंगा. You cannot say all that. Why? Because they are all indeed purifying. Pavanani Manishina. Even for those जिनका सब हो गया. This I have in several classes in earlier place I have already told. See in Sringeri Mat, the Matadhish is Sringeri Mat तो अद्वैत मठ के अनुसार जो शंकराचार्य जो प्रतिष्ठा किया, 4 मठ के अंदर एक है. उसकी मठाधीश वो तो अद्वैत मत है. They are always discussing only Upanishads and Shastras. लेकिन उनका सुबह बैठ के हर रोज उनकी जो अधिष्ठात्री देवता शारदा अंबिका का लंबी पूजा करने हर रोज 4-5 घंटे लगता है. उसके पहले जल भी नहीं ग्रहण करते हैं. पूजा करके उसके बाद जितने लोग हैं सबको जो उसके कहते हैं चरणामत नहीं कहते हैं, तीर्थ कहते हैं, तीर्थ वो देके उसके बाद हो जाए कुछ तो क्यों करते हैं? इसलिए somebody asked, आप तो अद्वैत में प्रतिष्ठित है, आप क्यों पूजा करते हैं? तो उन्होंने सिर्फ पूछा, मैं क्या करूं बोलो तो, फिर क्या करो? समझाया, ये पूजा मेरे के लिए, लोक संग्रह के लिए, दूसरों के लिए। सो सब तो आपको कुछ तो करना है। जब जब तक आप जीवित है, as long as your body, something other you have to do. What will you do? Shall he sit and play cards at that time? What such a person jnani, what shall we do? What he would do is, that will be for loka sangraha. Krishna also says, if I stop working even for one day, the whole world will collapse. Because although Trishilokesh kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam vartayeva cha karmani. See, I have nothing desired in the three lokas. There is no kartavya for me. Yet I continuously work to set an example. What these great people do, like Shankaracharya, they do it, देख देख के दूसरों सीखेंगे, उसी से कल्याण फैलेगा दूसरों का. For that purpose. So, he says, that is why in this country says, all these are not to be given up. This is my mata. Kartavyani iti me partha nishchitam matamuttam. I say, even this yajna, dana, tapa, all these karmas are not to be abandoned, because is all this pavanani, yajnodhanam tapaschaiva pavanani mani. So the idea is, nobody is really free from karma. Only thing is, as long as you are in the path of a sadhaka, when you are struggling, or even before that, either you do with a tremendous sense of attachment, and that brings you more and more misery, sorrow, and suffering in the stage prior to sadhana. As you enter sadhana, as you go through that, you find that you are struggling, you are trying hard, but again, something is happening, again you are doing sadhana. When you have completely reached the pinnacle or the acme or the highest idea of Siddhi, where you are completely established in non attachment, in non dual truth, or the highest idea you have realized God, then whatever you do, no longer it has the capability of binding you. So they always give the example of a burnt rope. एक रस्सी जला गया, लेकिन वो ऐसी गोलाकार लेके पड़ा है, वो क्या आपका बांध सकते हैं ऐसा रस्सी? नो. इफ यू ब्लो, इट विल ऑल गो अवे इन अ सेकंड. सो इसके बाद इफ यू आर अ रियलाइज सोल, आप जो भी करें, दैट कर्मा विल नॉट बाइंड यू, बिकॉज देयर इज नो सेंस ऑफ मी एंड माइंड दैट मैं और मेरा बिल्कुल वहां नहीं है. इसलिए आप जो भी करें, कुछ भी नहीं है आपका. Somebody was asking this very Swami, someone question, oh, you're also so worried. क्योंकि वो गौशाला में भी जाके काम करते थे, गाय की भी देखते हैं, सब भी करते हैं. Somebody said, oh, like a householder, you're also busy day and night doing this. What is the difference between you and me? उन्होंने बोला, अब पूछ रहे हैं, मेरा बेलूर मठ से बोले इस क्षण में छोड़ के चले जाऊंगा. कैन यू डू दैट? दैट इज द डिफरेंस. मैं आप बोल रही इतनी अटैच, बेलूर मठ से मेरा निर्देश आया, एक सेकंड में सब छोड़ के चले जाओ. आप बोल रहे हैं, आप इतनी मेहनत से सब देखते हैं, सब कर रहे हैं, इतना देखभाल करते हैं. दैट इज द डिफरेंस. सो वंस यू हैव दैट डीपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन योर माइंड, वॉट एवर यू डू विल नॉट अफेक्ट यू, बिकॉज आपकी कोई, आप लाभालाभो सुखे दुखे समय कृत्वा वही स्थिति में पहुंच गए. सब आप समय नहीं लग रहा है आपका. जब फल में कोई आने वाले में, सफल में, विफल में कोई भी आपका धंधा नहीं, लेना देना नहीं है. आप जो भी कर्म करें, इट शुड नॉट बाइंड यू, इट हैज नो कैपेसिटी टू ड्रैग यू डाउन. आप देन द कर्म no longer remains karma, because it has lost its capacity to bind you or bring you down. That is the difference. Otherwise everything is same. बास देखने में एक ज्ञानी, मान लीजिए ज्ञानी एक व्यक्ति, वो कुछ बनाती हैं, ज्ञानी इज डूइंग उपमा, ना अज्ञानी इज डूइंग उपमा. ज्ञानी की ज्यादा नमक डालेंगे, ना कम डालेंगे, ना पानी कम डालेंगे. बोथ में डू इट इन द बेस्ट वे. वन पर्सन इवन वेल डूइंग, उसकी गंध लेते रहते हैं, बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है, हाँ मैं खाऊंगा, सबको खिलाऊंगा, बहुत अच्छा है शुभ. प्रतिज्ञानी नहीं, इसे भगवान के अर्पण करना है, भगवान के लिए मैं भोग बना रहा हूँ. So the whole thing is different because of our attitude, how we are going to do. So this is what Maharaj has pointed out many other specialities of Sri Krishna, where he's talking about. Now his mata and mati has gone. Now we will say where he is giving emphasize some places. Ashamshaya, nasamshaya, nishchitam, nischita mati, etc. Where he is giving emphasis, those points of emphasis we'll take up next week. We shall do it slowly. What's the hurry? बहुत समय है हम लोग का, धीरे धीरे करेंगे. हाँ? ओम शांति शांति शांति, हरि ओम तत्सत. श्री राम कृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु.